Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Let me ask you something that might sting for just a moment. Why is it that no matter how hard you try, she seems more drawn to the man with a few wrinkles, a little grey in his beard, and a calmness you can't quite fake? Why does it feel like the older guy doesn't have to chase, doesn't have to try, and yet women lean into him with a fascination that feels unfair? This truth has haunted men for centuries, but tonight, I'm going to tell you why it happens and what you can do about it. You see, women are wired in ways most men will never understand, and that mystery keeps you restless at night. Younger men often think attraction is about flashy muscles, fast cars, or being endlessly available. But women are not chasing sparks, they are chasing fire, a steady flame, something they can trust not to burn out when the storm hits. And that's where older men slip quietly into the room and steal the attention. They exude something most young men haven't built yet, a presence. A presence that says, "I've been through life, and nothing you do will shake me." That's the code. It's not about money. It's not about status. It's about an energy you give off without speaking a word. Women feel it instantly. They sense when a man is desperate, when he's hungry for approval, when he secretly craves validation, and they recoil from it. But when a man doesn't chase, when he sits in his own gravity, she can't help but orbit closer. This is why women choose older men. It's not age, it's the mastery of self. The uncomfortable truth is that attraction isn't fair. You've been taught that youth gives you the upper hand, but what if I told you that youth is exactly what holds you back? Because the more you need to prove yourself, the weaker your presence becomes. But the man who's lived, who's fought his battles, who carries scars without apology, that man has already proven himself. And that's the attraction code women respond to without even realizing it. So, if you've been wondering why she looks past you, it's not because you're lacking something on the outside. It's because you haven't yet built the one thing no one can fake, inner power. And once you have it, age doesn't matter anymore. Think about this for a moment. Why does she lean in when the older man speaks, even if his words are simple? It's not the words, it's the weight behind them. Women are not just listening to what a man says, they are feeling who he is while he says it. That's the hidden game you were never taught. Every pause, every silence, every glance carries meaning. And older men know this instinctively because life has forced them to slow down, to measure, to understand. Younger men often rush. They speak to fill silence. They act to prove. But to a woman, that rush smells of insecurity. She doesn't want a boy scrambling for her attention. She wants a man who commands it without even trying. Do you see the difference? One is fighting to be noticed. The other is simply existing in a way that cannot be ignored. That's why she gravitates to older partners. It's not years, it's depth. Depth is the secret currency of attraction. A man who has tasted failure, endured heartbreak, stood alone in dark nights without collapsing. That man carries an aura women can't resist. Not because he's perfect, but because he's real. And realness is magnetic. She doesn't want fantasy. She wants grounding. She wants a man who steadies her storm, not one who adds to it. Here's the irony. Many younger men try to copy the surface of older men. They mimic style. They chase money. They try to act calm. But women always see through the mask. You cannot fake what hasn't been built. They don't want the costume of confidence. They want the man who has earned it through sweat, loss, and resilience. That's why patience is so devastatingly attractive. It signals that you are not afraid of time, not afraid of loss, not afraid of her walking away. And when she feels that, she chases you harder than you ever chased her. So, understand this. Attraction is not about impressing her. It's about revealing the man you've become when there's no audience watching. Older men have lived long enough to master that. If you want the same pull, you must begin building that depth now, not tomorrow, not when she rejects you, now. Let me tell you a truth most men can't bear to hear. Women are not attracted to potential. They're attracted to proof. They don't fall in love with who you could be. They fall in love with who you already are. And this is where younger men stumble, because they are still in the process of becoming, while older men are already standing in the skin of their identity. That difference is everything. When a woman looks at a younger man, she sees the chaos of ambition, the uncertainty of direction, the instability of someone still wrestling with his own place in the world. But when she looks at an older man, she sees a completed structure, a man who has already fought for his foundation and now simply lives in it. That's why his calm feels so intoxicating. He doesn't have to tell her he's strong. His life already whispers it in every detail. You might think women choose older partners because of money, security, or experience in the bedroom. But peel back those surface layers, and you'll see the deeper reason. Older men radiate certainty. And certainty, to a woman, is oxygen. It allows her to relax, to let go of the performance, to feel safe in a way no flashy car or muscular body can provide. Safety doesn't mean weakness. Safety means strength so solid that it can hold her without breaking. Younger men often sabotage themselves because they try to prove their worth. They overcommit, overpromise, and overcompensate, thinking that effort equals attraction. But here's the paradox. The harder you try to make her see your value, the more invisible you become. Why? Because real value doesn't shout, it whispers. Older men whisper, and women lean in closer just to hear. If you want to unlock the same magnetic pull, you need to stop living for her approval and start living for your own standard. Build yourself into someone who doesn't need validation, because that is the very energy that draws it in abundance. Women don't want to mother you, they want to meet you. They don't want to guess your direction, they want to feel your certainty. And until you stop begging for her gaze and start walking in your own gravity, she will keep choosing the man who already does. Here's what no one tells you. Women test men not because they enjoy games, but because they are searching for truth. Every sarcastic comment, every delayed reply, every push and pull, it's not cruelty, it's instinct. She's trying to see if you are who you appear to be, or if you'll crumble the moment pressure is applied. And this is where older men often shine, because they've already been tested by life itself. They don't flinch at small storms, because they've endured hurricanes. Younger men take these tests personally. They get defensive, they argue, they react. But women aren't judging the details of your response. They're measuring the weight of your presence beneath it. Do you bend? Do you break? Or do you stand calm, unshaken, like a mountain unmoved by wind? That's what she's really searching for. It's not about winning an argument. It's about proving your unshakable center. This is the secret. Attraction deepens in the absence of fear. The man who is terrified of losing her will always lose her. But the man who can let her walk away, who can stand in silence without chasing, who can trust his own value so completely that her approval feels like a bonus, not a lifeline, that man becomes unforgettable. Older men embody this because they've lived long enough to understand one brutal truth. Desperation kills desire. Look at the patterns. Women don't tell stories about the guy who texted them 100 times. They tell stories about the man who didn't need to, the man who gave her the gift of his attention but never begged for it in return. That's the paradox of attraction. The less you cling, the closer she comes. And it's not manipulation, it's magnetism. A strong man doesn't manipulate her emotions, he anchors them. So here's your challenge. Stop fearing her withdrawal. Stop performing for her approval. Every time you chase, you teach her you're beneath her. Every time you hold your frame, you teach her you're a man she can't break. And the moment she realizes she can't break you, that's the moment she surrenders to you. That's why older men win, because life has already broken them and they've learned how to rebuild stronger. And that strength is the one thing a woman can never resist. Let's rip away the illusions. Attraction isn't about the surface, It's about survival. Women are biologically wired to seek a man who can protect not just her body, but her mind, her emotions, and her future. That's why confidence is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And here's the brutal truth. Women can sense insecurity the way a wolf smells blood. You may think you're hiding it, but every glance, every hesitation, every unnecessary word reveals it. And insecurity repels her, no matter how much she liked you at first. Older men have learned something most younger men never grasp until it's too late. Silence is louder than noise. When an older man walks into a room, he doesn't rush to announce himself. He doesn't compete with louder voices. He lets his stillness do the work. Women lean into that stillness because it feels safe, it feels stable, and it feels strong. Younger men, desperate to be seen, talk too much, give too much, reveal too much too soon, and in that overexposure, they lose their power. This is the attraction code. Restraint is strength. Patience is power. Mystery is magnetism. A woman wants to feel like there are layers to you she hasn't uncovered yet. If you give it all away in the first moments, you rob her of the chase, the curiosity, the unfolding that makes attraction electric. Older men naturally hold back, not because they're playing games, but because they've learned that their worth doesn't need to be proven on demand. Think about it. The men women obsess over are not the ones who told them everything at once. They are the ones who revealed themselves slowly, deliberately, without ever needing her to validate them. That patience creates tension. That tension fuels desire. And that desire is what keeps her thinking about him long after he's gone. So ask yourself, are you the man who empties his soul for scraps of approval? Or are you the man who guards his presence like a treasure she must earn? Because women don't want a boy who gives it all away. They want a man who makes them rise to meet him. And when you embody that, you'll stop chasing, and she'll start chasing you. That is the hidden shift that turns the game upside down. Now let me leave you with a truth that may burn at first, but will set you free forever. Women don't actually choose older men. They choose stronger men. Age is just a disguise for strength, experience, and certainty. If you build those qualities now, you won't have to wait for years to pass before women look at you with the same respect, the same desire, the same hunger. The code isn't about getting older, it's about getting real. A woman wants to look at you and feel, in her bones, that you don't need her to complete you, that you are whole without her, that you're not begging to be chosen. You are already chosen by life itself because you fought, survived, and risen. That's the fire older men carry, and that's the fire you must build. Women crave that energy because deep down, they are tired of carrying men who cannot carry themselves. They want a man who can hold them, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. So stop asking why women overlook you. Stop blaming their choices. Stop envying the older guy. Instead, start building the man they cannot ignore. Build discipline. Build calmness. Build a life that excites you so much that her presence is an addition, not a necessity. Because here's the paradox. When you no longer need her, that's when she needs you. When you no longer chase, that's when she begins to pursue. When you finally live in your own gravity, women will orbit you without you lifting a finger. This is the attraction code. Not tricks, not fake lines, not manipulation. Pure presence, pure depth, pure certainty. You can spend years complaining about why women choose older partners, or you can spend months transforming yourself into the man they are secretly searching for. The man who doesn't flinch, the man who doesn't beg, the man who leads without asking permission. Now, I want to ask you something personal. Are you living as the man who chases or the man who attracts? Be honest. Drop your answer in the comments, because this is where change begins. And if this spoke to you, like this video, subscribe to the channel and share it with a brother who needs to hear this today. Because one day, he'll thank you for showing him the truth.